Hi, Zizaran here with another video, and this is going to be a things I think Diablo could improve video. So this might come off as a little bit negative. For those wondering my rating of the game, I actually give it like a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10, which is very high for me. I rate Path of Exile as an 8, sometimes maybe a 9 out of 10. I think it's a really good base for a game and a great skeleton that Diablo can keep building on, and I'm really excited to see what they do with seasons. But I wanted to make a video about all the things that I didn't like and things that I think they could improve, how they could change them, and why. Just really wanted to preface that because it might come off as a bit of a ranty video or a negative video because, well, you know, I'm not really going to be focusing on the positives in this one because they don't need improvement. So, first one. Before this started, Diablo 4 didn't have a map overlay, and I thought I was going to hate that. I did. I really hate that. It's awful. And if you're watching streamers, you'll see the large majority of them are opening the map every few seconds. And I very often see comments, people saying, oh my god, this looks awful. Why is there no map overlay? It's great for the people that don't want to use it and really want to be immersed in the content, but this is a video game and a lot of us don't really care about being immersed. We just want good quality of life features. So having the option for a map overlay would be absolutely huge. And at least the majority of streamers I know all are kind of miserable about the fact that there is no map overlay. There's not really that much else to say about that. Just please give us an overlay as an option. Not everybody has to use it, and the ones of us that do are spamming M right now. Another thing that's interesting is that the mount speed is sort of feels a little bit like it's built around console because it's, well, it depends where you have your cursor. So the closer to your character you are, the slower it is. That means that if you have your character here, you're a lot slower than if you have your mouse all the way at the edge of the screen. I had not noticed that myself, so I've just been running at a slower speed than I could have been because I would have had my cursor here, which is slower than having it all the way at the edge. So yeah, I had not really noticed that. That should probably be changed. I guess there could be like a walk key if you really want to role play walking through town like this. But yeah, I'd rather like holding shift or control or something would slow down your horse, and just always having run at max speed would probably be nicer. The world itself scaling up to level 95, I don't think is a good thing. I see a lot of benefit for why people want scaling, because then you can play with your low level friends on your high level character, and they will be just as useful as you are. Maybe even stronger sometimes, because you actually are getting weaker every time you level. That is why I'm against scaling. I feel like leveling up in an ARPG should always, in every way, just be a pure benefit, where if you're not getting an important node and you're not getting an important paragon thing, you are actively getting weaker every level up here, and I don't think that's good. And obviously, if you're not getting gear upgrades. I don't personally think that's good. There might be people out there that do. Obviously, my way isn't necessarily the right way, but I do think the game would really benefit from limited scaling, because this means that if you, for example, say you have a level 100 character and you want to try a different build, you actually need to, on the build you're currently playing that already is strong, you need to farm up a whole new build with every piece of gear being strong enough to fight the new content, and then do a complete respec at once. You can't spec over with a few items, because then you would be ridiculously weak compared to the new high level monsters you're farming, because you can't go back down to lower levels and still find relevant gear. If you went down to world level 3, you're now finding sacred items instead of ancestral, and the elites are still as high level as you are. For example, if I go to world tier 1 right now, I will still be fighting level 105 elites. Another problem with the scaling, and I've made a separate video about this, is that the dungeons go all the way up to level 95, and if all you care about is levels, it invalidates the Nightmare Sigil system, and these are still good for glyphs, but you know, you could just level through these. The Lilith statues, I don't actually mind too much. I surprisingly enjoyed that. They weren't too bad. As far as like farming for Renown, I believe you only have to do the Lilith statues once ever for the stats. You will have to do them again if you want the Renown for them. But yeah, all my characters now are starting with 75 all stats. Yeah, running them was pretty fun. I am very happy that there are maps out there for the actual where they are, because some of them are, there's no chance in hell I would have found them. Some are like, you kind of see like, oh, there's a little crevice here, a crevice there. So you could just run like there, 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 and there, and you're gonna find them, but there's no way I would have found all of them by just playing the game. It's also kind of hard for me to see them. However, a really unenjoyable farm for me was the last Renown. Some of the side quests were pretty cool, but some of them are crazy long. Sometimes you'll get one side quest, which is do an emote for 20 renown. That's fine, right? It's whatever. But there are some where it'll be like a 20-minute side quest for 20 renown. And when you don't know which ones are good and which ones are bad, it can take a very long time. I found that farming these three were very easy. They were good and I enjoyed it. And, you know, a lot of it is just, yeah, do every dungeon. And that was pretty good. But the last one was okay. This one was very, very punishing. This felt like a chore. It was not enjoyable. For those that have reached the final one, I would love to know sort of like a breakdown of how many people liked it and how many people didn't. From my chat, a lot of people are saying they really didn't. And also doing the strongholds for Renown was very, very cool. I enjoyed that. And the Renown run wasn't that bad except for the last one. For items, I actually quite like the item system. I would love to see some sort of Val Orb like Path of Exile where you have like a big risk reward thing, maybe as a rare drop. And maybe some sort of divine system. Maybe having a boss that you can kill. I think Diablo 4 could really benefit from more endgame bosses. Lilith, I think, hasn't even been killed yet on hardcore. Maybe Woody has managed to kill her now. But either way, very, very hard fight. And I think having a few bosses like that, like making Andariel have an endgame version, and maybe the fact that you could then kill Andariel and divine an item. So that would mean, you know, the dexterity here would reroll between 42 and 63. The ice shards would reroll between 3 and 4. And a lucky hit chance would be between 8.1, 16.5, etc. Similar to what we have in other games. Like having the ability to do that could be pretty cool. It doesn't necessarily need to happen either. There's a very good benefit by having to just keep farming new gear. So I'm actually pretty happy either way. That's just one idea for something that could be a cool boss reward. I would also like to see more unique items. I think the ones that are in are really cool right now. And even if there are shit tons of strong unique items, you definitely would still need to have legendary items, and you probably wouldn't be doing a full set of unique items, even if there were very many more. Some form of crafting as well would be really, really cool. I would love that. A reason for having white items, blue items, etc. And another thing that Diablo 4 needs, in my opinion, which will come over time, is just more things to do at the endgame. Right now, it is just running dungeons or nightmare sigils at the endgame. There's not that much else to do. The tree thing, the bounty stuff, didn't seem super worth doing. And the hell tides are actually quite nice. But other than that, it needs a little bit more stuff to do at the endgame. And I think that'll come with time. So I'm not too worried about that. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're going to do in Season 1. Another thing that a lot of people have been remarking on is that the open world can feel a little empty and lifeless. I wish we had sort of some settings here. I wish there was a setting for people like me that don't want anyone else in their world. I don't mind that it's open and lifeless, and I want to be the only person in my world. I don't want to wait on monsters respawning, etc. And for those that really want like more of an MMO feeling, maybe they should have access to that, where there are more people in the world and not just 10 or 12. Because in such large areas, you're never seeing anyone. And there are people that do want that MMO feeling where you are running into people. For the story, I thought it was pretty good. I didn't care that much for the text-based story. I'm not a big fan of like reading and waiting for things to happen that are slowing me down. But what I do enjoy a lot is the cinematics and stuff, especially the cinematic when they go to hell that we had already seen before Diablo 4 came out. I almost called it Lilith 4 there. It's so weird that Diablo's not in the game to me, you know? But that trailer, like, you know, we got an expansion to the trailer kind of thing, like more cinematic, and it was so cool. Especially the part where Inarius does like the wing spin. Very, very cool. I don't want to spoil too much of what actually happens in the Hell trailer, but very cool story. I do feel like Diablo 4 would have benefited more from having us actually have a choice, because Lilith, even especially at the end, seems like absolutely the good person in this, because she wants to pull humanity out of the eternal conflict. And by killing Lilith, all we do is ensure that the eternal conflict keeps going, and we're immortal. Doesn't matter to the demons, doesn't matter to the angels. They just die and respawn, die and respawn. So, you know, that was a little odd. Lilith is definitely the good person here, and I think it would make a lot more sense for humanity to side with her and help her. The music, I wasn't a huge fan of, and what I mean by that is I like the music when it's playing, but it's mostly just ambiance. Like, I have personally been listening to the Darktide 40k Warhammer OST, and I've been having so much more fun killing enemies and stuff, especially when it syncs up with a really banger soundtrack. And I'm not really vibing with the ambience that much. I know a lot of people are saying they like it though, so it's not objectively bad. Boss design is a bit of a weird one. You have some that are really, really boring and recycled. Some of the dungeon bosses, like, you know, the Den Mother and stuff like that, you'll see very often the same boss in multiple dungeons, and there's not that many, like, different ones there. So obviously that's a little boring, but then you have some really cool ones, like Andariel, Lilith, and a few of the dungeon bosses are quite unique and different. I really cannot wait for them to get more time to put out more things like Lilith, more things like Andariel, make Uber versions of those. It's so cool. I love that. I can't wait to see what they're going to do for boss fights, because it seems like they really do have some cool things up their sleeve there. A really bad thing about Diablo 4 is the UI. And I'm not talking about visually right now, because I don't really give two fucks about visual things like the text being bad or visuals being bad. That's not that important to me. What's really important to me is functionality. The fact that there's no search makes the entire thing feel like it's built for console. It's very, very frustrating. Like, the search is some sort of weird keyword thing. Why would I want to click on keywords? I want to type in movement speed, strength, and see. Like, first off, I want to search my stash. We don't have that functionality at all. And there's so many like things in like the Paragon tree that I would like to search for, or even my own skill tree. And we just don't have that. And that is very, very frustrating. And it feels a little bit like some things have been super prioritized for PC and some things have been super prioritized for console. And it ends up being really, really weird mix match. Another thing as well, the fact that we can only have 4 stash tabs. I was playing a little bit with Woody yesterday, and his theory was that they're going to introduce more stash tabs as a reward for each season. So the more seasons you play, the more stash tabs you get. But I don't understand why they don't just gate this behind gold. They could easily have us have 20, 30, 40 stash tabs for people that want to like prepare things for multiple characters and they want to save up cool things, uniques, etc. to play the game long term. And it's just very weird having 4 stash tabs. I feel like pretty much most people are really struggling with that. And a lot of people have done similar things to old Diablo 2 where they're making a new character to be a mule and hold things like gems. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, there's a Diablo 4 promo at the moment where you can gift 2 Twitch subs to streamers like myself as a way to support the channel, and you get a Mount MTX. So if you do want to do that, it's greatly appreciated. Either way, thank you for watching the video. More importantly, try to die less than I do.